Stop. Before you eat your next meal, you need to watch this. Because what I'm about to share with you has been sitting in a Harvard research file for years, and most doctors still aren't telling their patients about it. If you are over 50, one common food that you are probably eating right now, maybe even today, is quietly doing something terrifying inside your body. Not next year, not in 10 years, right now. And the worst part? It's not junk food. It's not fast food. It's something most people over 50 actually believe is good for them. Something that's been marketed as healthy for decades. Something sitting in millions of refrigerators and pantries across the world. I'm Dr. Name. I've spent over 20 years studying how nutrition affects the aging body, and I have reviewed hundreds of clinical studies, including the latest findings out of Harvard Medical School. And I can tell you with full confidence, what happens inside your body after 50 is completely different from what happened at 30. Your metabolism shifts, your gut changes, your inflammation response weakens, and certain foods that your body once handled just fine become genuinely dangerous after a certain age. We're talking about increased risk of heart disease, accelerated memory loss, hormonal collapse, and in some cases, researchers are now linking it directly to faster cellular aging. That's not a headline. That's peer-reviewed science. In this video, I'm going to count down the 5 foods Harvard and other top institutions are now warning people over 50 to stop eating or dramatically reduce. Each one is more shocking than the last. And number one is something that is going to genuinely surprise you. I've had patients in my own practice, people who were doing everything right, eating clean, exercising, taking their supplements, and this one food was silently sabotaging all of it. Stay with me until number 1, because that one could change everything. Let's start the countdown. Number 5, fruit juice. Yes, the glass of orange juice you've been pouring every morning since you were a child. Here's what nobody told you. When you're young, your body processes sugar quickly. Your insulin response is sharp. Your liver handles the fructose load efficiently. But after 50, that entire system starts to slow down. And fruit juice, even 100% natural, no sugar added fruit juice, hits your bloodstream like a sugar bomb with no parachute. Here's the science. When you eat a whole orange, the fiber slows down sugar absorption. Your blood glucose rises gradually. Your body manages it. But when that orange is juiced, the fiber is gone. What's left is a concentrated liquid that spikes your blood sugar faster than a can of soda. A study published in the British Medical Journal followed over 70,000 adults and found that people who regularly drank fruit juice had a significantly higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to those who ate whole fruit. And after 50, your insulin sensitivity is already declining. You are already more vulnerable. Fruit juice accelerates that vulnerability. I had a patient, let me call him Robert, 58 years old, active guy. Walked every morning, watched his diet, but every single day, he started his morning with 2 glasses of orange juice. He came to me confused. His blood sugar was creeping up. His energy was crashing by 10 a.m. His belly fat, despite all the walking, wasn't moving. We removed the juice, replaced it with whole fruit and water. In 6 weeks, his fasting blood sugar dropped 18 points. The fix is simple. Eat the fruit. Don't drink it. If you love the ritual of a morning drink, squeeze half a lemon into warm water instead. Your pancreas will thank you. Number 4, vegetable oils. Canola oil, sunflower oil, corn oil, soybean oil. These are in almost every processed food on the market. Most people cook with them daily, and for decades we were told they were heart-healthy alternatives to saturated fat. That narrative is collapsing. Here's what's happening at the cellular level. Vegetable oils are extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids. Your body needs some omega-6. But the modern diet gives us 15 to 20 times more omega-6 than omega-3. That massive imbalance does one thing above everything else. It drives chronic inflammation. And after 50, chronic inflammation is the engine behind almost every disease you are afraid of. Heart disease, arthritis, Alzheimer's, cancer, they all have one thing in common: systemic inflammation. And you may be pouring it directly into your pan every morning. A Harvard School of Public Health review found that the oxidation of polyunsaturated fats, which is exactly what happens when you heat vegetable oils, produces toxic compounds called aldehydes. These compounds have been linked to DNA damage and neurological decline. Think about that. The oil you're using to cook your healthy stir-fry may be generating toxic byproducts that attack your brain cells. After 50, your body's ability to neutralize these compounds weakens. What your body once cleared out now accumulates. The fix. Switch to extra virgin olive oil for low-heat cooking. Use avocado oil for high heat. Cook with grass-fed butter or ghee. These fats are stable at high temperatures and carry anti-inflammatory properties instead of pro-inflammatory ones. Small swap, massive difference over time, and if you think those two are surprising, wait until you hear number 3. Because number 3 is something that is aggressively marketed as a health food. It's in every grocery store health aisle. Millions of people over 50 eat it specifically because they think it's protecting them. It isn't. Number 3, whole wheat bread. I know what you're thinking, but my doctor told me to switch to whole wheat. And that advice made sense 20 years ago, before we understood what happens to the aging gut, before we understood blood sugar variability after 50. Before the research caught up with the marketing, here's the truth that the bread industry does not want trending. Whole wheat bread has a glycemic index of 71. White bread sits at 75. That difference? Nearly meaningless. Both spike your blood sugar at almost identical rates. The whole grain label gives people a false sense of security, and that false security is dangerous. But it gets worse. Most commercial whole wheat breads contain something called amylopectin A, a highly branched starch that your digestive enzymes break down faster than almost any other carbohydrate. Dr. William Davis, a preventive cardiologist, described it as one of the most glucose-spiking foods in the modern diet. 2 slices of whole wheat bread raise your blood sugar higher than 6 teaspoons of table sugar. 6 teaspoons. Now layer that onto a body over 50. After 50, your pancreatic beta cells, the cells responsible for producing insulin, begin to decline in both number and efficiency. Your glucose clearance slows. Repeated blood sugar spikes after every healthy whole wheat meal create a pattern of hyperinsulinemia, chronically elevated insulin, which researchers at Stanford have directly linked to visceral fat accumulation, accelerated arterial aging, and early cognitive decline. A 2021 meta-analysis in Nutrients Journal reviewed data from over 200,000 adults and found that high glycemic diets in adults over 50 were independently associated with a 34% increased risk of cardiovascular events, even after controlling for other risk factors. I had a patient, a 63-year-old woman named Carol, a retired school teacher, meticulous about her health, ate whole wheat toast every morning, whole wheat sandwich for lunch. She came to me frustrated. Her cholesterol was worsening. Her brain fog was getting worse. She was gaining weight around her midsection, despite eating what she genuinely believed was a clean diet. We ran a continuous glucose monitor for 2 weeks. Every single whole wheat meal sent her blood sugar soaring past 160. Her body was in a constant state of metabolic stress, and she had no idea. We replaced the bread with sourdough made from fermented whole grains, sweet potatoes, and legumes. Within 3 months, her LDL dropped. Her energy stabilized. The brain fog lifted. The fix. If you need bread, choose authentic, slow-fermented sourdough. The long fermentation process breaks down the problematic starches and lowers the glycemic impact significantly. Or better yet, replace your grain-based carbohydrates with root vegetables, lentils, and legumes that digest slowly and feed your gut bacteria instead of spiking your blood sugar. Number 2, processed deli meats. Turkey slices, ham, salami, bologna, packaged chicken breast. It looks like protein. It's sold in the health section. The label says low fat and high protein, and your brain says, this is fine. It is not fine. In 2015, the World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer made a landmark classification. Processed meats were officially designated as Group 1 carcinogens, the same category as cigarette smoke and asbestos. Let that sit for a moment. The lunch meat in your refrigerator is in the same cancer risk category as cigarettes. Here's the mechanism. Processed deli meats are preserved with sodium nitrates and sodium nitrites. When these compounds are exposed to heat, or even to the acidic environment of your stomach, they convert into nitrosamines. Nitrosamines are among the most potent carcinogenic compounds ever studied. They directly damage DNA. They promote tumor formation in the colon, stomach, and pancreas. And after 50, your DNA repair mechanisms slow down. Your body becomes less efficient at catching and correcting cellular damage. The same exposure that your body might have managed at 35 now creates compounding risk. A landmark Harvard study tracking over 120,000 adults found that one daily serving of processed meat increased the risk of dying from cardiovascular disease by 20% and from cancer by 16%. One serving every day. And it's not just cancer. Processed meats are loaded with sodium, often 800 to 1,200 milligrams per serving. After 50, your kidneys become less efficient at excreting excess sodium. Blood pressure climbs. Arterial walls stiffen. The risk of stroke and heart failure compounds quietly with every sandwich. I think about a patient of mine, a 67-year-old retired contractor named James. Strong man, proud of his health. Every day for lunch, a deli turkey sandwich on whole wheat bread. He thought he was doing everything right. 2 foods from this list. Every single day. When we reviewed his labs, his inflammatory markers were elevated. His blood pressure was resistant to medication. His colon screening came back with 3 precancerous polyps. He was devastated because he had been trying the fix. Replace processed deli meats with whole, minimally processed proteins. Roast your own turkey or chicken breast at home. Use canned wild salmon or sardines. Hard-boil eggs in bulk. These give you the protein without the nitrates, the sodium load, or the carcinogenic risk. And now we've reached it. Number 1, the food that is perhaps the most deceptive on this entire list. The one with the most powerful marketing machine behind it. The one that millions of people over 50 consume specifically because they believe it's helping them live longer. The science says something very different. Number 1, low-fat flavored yogurt. Take a breath, because I need you to really hear this one. This is the food that is sitting in the refrigerators of health-conscious people all over the world. This is the food that doctors recommended, that dietitians endorsed. That was placed in the healthy breakfast category for 4 decades straight. And for people over 50, it may be one of the most quietly destructive things you can eat. Let me explain exactly what's happening. And I want you to follow this closely, because the science here is not complicated. It is just hidden. When the low-fat food movement exploded in the 1970s and 80s, manufacturers had a problem. When you remove fat from yogurt, you remove flavor. The product tastes flat, sour, unpleasant. Nobody buys it. So they replaced the fat with something that does sell. Sugar. A single serving of a popular brand of low-fat strawberry yogurt contains up to 26 grams of sugar. That is more sugar than a glazed donut, more than most candy bars. Packaged in a small plastic cup with a picture of fresh fruit on the label, sitting in the health food aisle, right next to the granola and the green juices. But sugar alone doesn't explain why this is number 1. Here is what makes this specifically devastating after 50. Gut microbiome collapse. Your gut microbiome, the ecosystem of trillions of bacteria living in your digestive tract, is one of the most critical systems in your entire body. It regulates your immune system. It produces neurotransmitters, including up to 90% of your body's serotonin. It controls inflammation. It communicates directly with your brain through the gut-brain axis. And after 50, your microbiome diversity begins to naturally decline. You start losing key bacterial strains. Your gut lining becomes more permeable. Your immune regulation weakens. Researchers now call this phenomenon gut aging, and it is directly linked to increased rates of depression, cognitive decline, autoimmune conditions, and accelerated physical aging. This is the moment where low-fat flavored yogurt does its damage. People over 50 turn to yogurt specifically for the probiotics, the live bacterial cultures that support gut health. And plain full-fat unsweetened yogurt does deliver those benefits. That part is real. But flavored low-fat yogurt? The sugar load that comes with those probiotics essentially cancels them out, and then goes further. A landmark study from the Salk Institute for Biological Studies found that high sugar intake dramatically reduces microbiome diversity, specifically depleting the lactobacillus and bifidobacterium strains that are most critical for immune regulation and mental health in aging adults. You are swallowing probiotics with one hand and killing your gut bacteria with the other. But here is what makes it even more alarming. High sugar intake after 50 accelerates a process called glycation. This is where sugar molecules attach to proteins and fats in your bloodstream, forming destructive compounds called advanced glycation end products. Scientists call them AGEs. And the name is appropriate. AGEs stiffen your arteries. They cloud the lenses of your eyes. They damage the myelin sheath protecting your nerve fibers. They accelerate wrinkle formation at the cellular level. They degrade collagen and elastin in your joints and skin. Essentially, excess sugar after 50 speeds up every visible and invisible sign of aging simultaneously. A 2023 study published in JAMA Network Open, following over 180,000 participants over a decade, found that adults over 50 with consistently high added sugar intake had a 48% higher risk of developing mild cognitive impairment compared to those with low sugar intake. Not Alzheimer's diagnosis, mild cognitive impairment. The stage right before. The stage that is still reversible. Now let me tell you about Margaret. Margaret was 61. A retired nurse, someone who understood health better than most people. She came to me exhausted, foggy, gaining weight around her midsection despite eating, in her words, almost perfectly. She showed me her food diary. Every morning, low-fat blueberry yogurt with a handful of granola. She had been eating this breakfast for 11 years. 11 years of believing she was doing something powerful for her gut health and her bones. When we ran her labs, her inflammatory markers were elevated. Her fasting insulin was in the pre-diabetic range. Her gut microbiome panel showed dangerously low diversity, specifically depleted in the exact bacterial strains that regulate mood and immune function. Margaret looked at me and said, "I was a nurse for 30 years. How did I not know this?" Because the marketing was louder than the science. We replaced her morning yogurt with plain full-fat Greek yogurt, no added sugar, with fresh berries and a tablespoon of ground flaxseed. Within 8 weeks, her energy returned. Her bloating disappeared. Her fasting insulin dropped back into the normal range. 11 years of daily damage, and her body began repairing itself in 8 weeks. That is how resilient the human body is when you stop working against it. The fix is precise. When buying yogurt, turn it around. Read the label. If it has more than 8 grams of sugar per serving, put it back. Choose plain full-fat Greek yogurt or plain kefir. Add your own fruit. Add cinnamon. Add raw honey in small amounts if you need sweetness. You get the probiotics, the protein, the calcium, without the sugar bomb dismantling everything those probiotics are trying to build. Full fat is not your enemy after 50. Hidden sugar is. You now know what most people over 50 will never be told. Not by their grocery store. Not by the food industry. And sadly, not even by every doctor they visit. So let's bring it all together. Because knowledge without clarity is just noise. And you deserve clarity. Number 5, fruit juice. That morning glass of orange juice you've been loyal to for decades. It's spiking your blood sugar faster than soda, with no fiber to slow it down. After 50, your insulin sensitivity is already declining. Fruit juice accelerates that decline every single morning. Eat the fruit. Drink the water. Number 4, vegetable oils. Canola, sunflower, corn, soybean. When heated, these oils produce toxic aldehydes that damage your DNA and accelerate neurological decline. After 50, your body can no longer clear these compounds efficiently. Switch to olive oil, avocado oil, or ghee. Same meal. Completely different outcome. Number 3, whole wheat bread. The food you switch to specifically for your health spikes your blood sugar almost identically to white bread. The amylopectin A inside it hits your bloodstream harder than 6 teaspoons of sugar. After 50, those repeated spikes are directly linked to visceral fat, arterial aging, and cognitive decline. Choose slow-fermented sourdough, or better yet, root vegetables and legumes instead. Number 2, processed deli meats. Classified by the World Health Organization in the same cancer risk category as cigarettes, the nitrosamines they generate directly damage DNA, at the exact age when your body's repair mechanisms are weakening. One daily serving increases cardiovascular mortality risk by 20%. Roast your own proteins at home. Make the switch permanent. And number 1, low-fat flavored yogurt. The health food that isn't. Loaded with more sugar than a donut. Destroying the very gut bacteria you're eating it to build. Triggering glycation. The cellular aging process that stiffens your arteries, clouds your thinking, and accelerates every sign of aging from the inside out. Choose plain, full-fat Greek yogurt every time. Add your own fruit. Take back control of your gut. Now here is what I need you to understand, and this is the most important thing I will say in this entire video. None of this is your fault. You were given bad information, aggressively marketed bad information, backed by industry funding, outdated guidelines, and a food system that profits from confusion. You were trying. You were making what you believed were healthy choices. That effort matters, and it is not wasted. Because here is the extraordinary truth about the human body after 50. It is not too late. The research on biological aging has made one thing overwhelmingly clear. The body's capacity for repair and regeneration does not simply shut off at a certain age. It slows. It needs better inputs. It becomes less forgiving of the wrong ones. But given the right environment, the right foods, the right signals, it responds. Margaret's gut began healing in 8 weeks. Robert's blood sugar dropped in 6. Carol's brain fog lifted in 3 months. James changed course after his diagnosis, and his follow-up screening 2 years later came back completely clear. These are not miracles. They are biology responding to better information. You now have better information. Start today, not Monday. Not after the holidays. Not after you finish what's already in the pantry. Today, the next time you reach for one of these 5 foods, pause. Remember what you now know about what's happening inside your body, and make a different choice. Small decisions made consistently across months and years are not small at all. They are the entire difference between how the next decade of your life feels. You are not just living longer after 50. You are deciding how you live. And you just took the first step. If this video opened your eyes, share it. Right now. With someone over 50 in your life who is still eating these foods because nobody told them the truth. Your parents. Your spouse. Your closest friend. One share could genuinely change the trajectory of someone's health. And drop a comment below. I read every single one. Tell me, which of these 5 foods surprised you the most? Was it the fruit juice? The whole wheat bread? Or did number 1 catch you completely off guard? Your answer might be exactly what helps someone else watching this decide to make a change. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of your body. It's the only one you have.